Once upon a time, there was a white snake empress whose name was Baisujin. She was originally a white snake, but because she was born with spirituality and after thousands of years of cultivation, she had magical powers and could transform into a human form. She also had a stepsister named Zhaoqing, who was transformed into a small green snake. The sisters often transformed into human form and went around to play. One day, the White Lady and Zhaoqing went to play by the West Lake. On the shore of the West Lake, peach red and willow green were picturesque. The White Lady and Zhaoqing walked around and looked over there, enjoying the beautiful scenery, and were very happy. But after a while, the sky was suddenly overcast, and in the blink of an eye, it began to rain heavily. Lady Bai and Zhaoqing had nowhere to hide, and were soaked by the heavy rain. When they were worried, suddenly the rain above their heads seemed to stop. Lady Bai looked back and saw that it was not the rain that had stopped, but a delicate and elegant young scholar was holding an umbrella to protect them from the rain. But he was soaked by the heavy rain. The green cloth robe was covered with dark water stains. Lady Bai and the scholar looked at each other and couldn't help but lose their minds. Seeing this, Little Green hurriedly took the umbrella over and said, "Thank you." Lady Bai also gave a deep salute and said, "Thank you so much to this husband." Scholar hurriedly returned the salute and said, "You too are welcome." Lady Bai asked again, "May I ask my husband's surname and where he lives, so that I can return the umbrella to my husband another day and come to the door to thank him?" Scholar said, "My surname is Zhu Xian, and my name is Zhu Xian, and I live on the edge of this West Lake." Lady Bai and Little King thanked me and left with the umbrella for a few days, and Lady Bai and Little King really came to Zhu Xian's house to return the umbrella. After that, Zhu Xian and Bai Niangzi fell in love with each other and soon got married. After getting married, Zhu Xian and Bai Niangzi took Zhaoqing and opened a pharmacy called Beiyou Tang. Due to Zhu Xian's superb medical skills and kind-hearted heart, he cured many difficult and miscellaneous diseases. When he encountered poor people, he sometimes gave medicine without charging a penny. 1 past 10, 10 past hundreds, and soon became a good doctor praised by the local people. Bai Niangzi often went to the mountains to pick herbs and help her husband. The two loved each other and lived a very happy life. But the good times didn't last long, and the business of Beiyou Hall was booming. But it annoyed one person, the monk Fahai from the nearby Jinshan temple. The monk Fahai knew some spells, and usually relied on giving some spells and pills to the common people, and collecting some money. The common people were sick in the past, and they all went to Jinshan temple to find him. But as soon as Zhu Xian and White Lady's Beiyou Hall opened, no one went to find him anymore. Fahai was very angry, and one day, he came to Beiyou Hall to see who was robbing him of business. Monk Fahai pretended to be a wandering monk and walked to the door of Beiyou Hall, just in time to see the White Lady treating people in the lobby. Fahai took a closer look and found that the White Lady was actually a snake demon. So he thought about it and had an idea. One day, while the White Lady was away, Monk Fahai knocked on the wooden fish and came to Zhu Xian's door, saying to Zhu Xian, "Sir, there is a demonic aura on your face." Zhu Xian was startled and quickly asked, "What do you mean?" Monk Fahai walked around the room and said, "Your wife is a white snake. You have to leave her quickly to save your life." When Zhu Xian heard that, he was very angry and said, "What nonsense are you talking about? My wife is kind and beautiful. How could she be a snake demon?" Fahai said, "If you don't believe me, you can give your wife some realgar wine on the Dragon Boat Festival to see if she dares to drink it." Although Zhu Xian was very angry, he couldn't help but have some doubts in his heart. On the day of the Dragon Boat Festival, he really took some realgar wine and asked the White Lady to drink it. The White Lady knew that Zhu Xian doubted her and had no choice but to drink it. Unexpectedly, the White Lady was dizzy immediately after drinking it. She barely supported her body and came to the bedside, and Zhu Yan came to the white lady's bedside lightly. He lifted the curtain and saw that there was a big white snake lying on the bed. Zhu Yan was so scared that he passed out. When Lady Bai woke up, she saw that Zhu Yan had lost her breath and couldn't help crying. Little King was beside her and said, "Sister, what's the use of crying? Hurry up and think of a way." Only then did Lady Bai remember that there is a Ganoderma lucidum fairy grass on the Kunlun Mountains, and if you eat it, you can return to your soul. She hurriedly rushed to the Kunlun Mountains and found the Ganoderma lucidum grass. She secretly picked one and was about to fly away, but was caught by the Antarctic fairy. The white lady told the Antarctic fairy about herself, and the fairy was very sympathetic to her. So she made an exception to allow her to take a Ganoderma lucidum fairy grass. The white lady thanked the Antarctic fairy. He quickly flew back home and used Ganoderma lucidum grass to boil the soup and save Zhu Yan. Seeing that his plan was unsuccessful, Monk Fahai tricked Zhu Yan into Jinshan Temple and locked him up. Seeing white lady saw her husband did not come back for several days, anxious. Zhi was very anxious. She asked around and finally found out that Zhu Yan was locked up in Jinshan Temple. Bai Niangzi took Xiaoqing and rowed a boat to the gate of Jinshan Temple, begging Fahai to let Zhu Yan go. But not only did Fahai not let her go, but she also scolded Lady Bai as a snake demon, raising the green dragon staff in her hand and hitting her. Lady Bai was already pregnant and couldn't fight Fahai. After a while of fighting, Lady Bai couldn't hold on anymore, so she unplugged the golden hairpin on her head, waved it in the wind, and a huge wave immediately rose on the sea, rushing straight to Jinshan Temple. Fahai saw it. He quickly took off his costume and threw it into the air to turn it into a long dike, blocking the door of Jinshan Temple. The big wave was 1 foot long, and the long lift was 1 foot high. There was no way to flood the gold. Bai Sachen could only flee back to Hangzhou for the time being. Later, Zhu Yan, who was locked in the temple, fled. He went home and saw that the house was empty, and he was very sad. She was very sad, and since then, he has locked himself in the house. In the spring of the following year, it was another rainy day. Zhu Yan remembered the scene when he first met the white lady. Then he came to the broken bridge of Westlake again. Just as he was sad, he suddenly heard someone calling him. He turned around and saw that it was White Lady. Wife met. They couldn't help hugging their heads and crying. After Zhu Yan and White Lady went home, it didn't take long for White Lady to give birth to a white and fat boy. Zhu Yan was very happy. A blink of an eye, on the day of the child's full moon, a vendor came to Zhu Xian's house. Zhu Yan saw that he had a very beautiful golden phoenix crown there, so he bought it and gave it to the white lady. The white lady also liked it very much, sat in front of the mirror and put the golden phoenix crown on her head. But who knew that as soon as the white lady put it on, the golden phoenix crown immediately became smaller. It tightly hugged the white lady's head, and the pain caused the white lady to faint. Vendor ran in, and it turned out that he was made by Fahai. He blew at the golden phoenix crown, and the phoenix crown immediately turned into a golden bowl, and the white lady was put in the golden bowl. From then on, the white lady was pressed under the Lifeng Pagoda. Seeing that her sister was rested, Xiaoqing hurried up to fight with Fahai, but she really couldn't beat Fahai. So she had no choice but to turn into a wisp of blue smoke and escape back to the mountains. Zhu Yan hugged his son, tears streaming down his face. He begged Fahai, but Fahai refused. Later, Zhu Yan entrusted his son to relatives to raise him and left home by himself. He built a small hut next to Lifeng Pagoda and guarded the white lady every day. Xiaoqing has been working hard to cultivate every day since she ran back to the deep mountain, hoping that one day she can defeat Fahai and save her sister. I don't know how many years of cultivation. Xiaoqing felt that her mana was already very high, so she left the deep mountain. She came to Jinshan Temple to find Fahai for revenge. As soon as Fahai saw Xiaoqing coming, he knew that she was here for revenge. He picked up the king Long Cane and fought with Xiaoqing. Xiaoqing thought that after so many years of cultivation, his mana had become very strong. But Fahai has not relaxed his cultivation these years, and his mana is also higher than before. Xiaoqing held a sword. Fahai held the king Long Cane in his hand, and he fought for 3 days and 3 nights without a winner. Finally, Fahai gradually couldn't hold on anymore. His king Long Cane was sent flying by Xiaoqing in a hurry. He took out the golden bowl and wanted to subdue Xiaoqing like the white lady did back then. As soon as Xiaoqing saw the golden bowl, she remembered what happened to her sister and couldn't help but feel a burst of anger, which rushed to her heart. She raised her sword and pierced the golden bowl at once. As soon as Fahai saw that her two magic tools were broken by Xiaoqing, she was so frightened that she quickly ran back to Jinshan Temple. Seeing Fahai fleeing, Xiaoqing didn't chase after him. She stood outside the temple gate and chanted a spell, gathered the magic power she had cultivated for so many years, and spewed out a divine fire from her mouth. And the flames surrounded the entire Jinshan Temple in an instant. As soon as Fahai saw that there was nowhere to run, he quickly hid in a crack under the crab's navel and never came out again. Although Xiaoqing defeated Fahai, she had no way to knock down the Lifing Pagoda. She could only look at the tower sadly. Many years later, Zhu Ziyan and the son of Lady Bai grew up and won the champion. Xiaoqing told him about what happened to Lady Bai, and after hearing it, the wife's son couldn't help but burst into tears. He came to the foot of the Lifing Pagoda and shouted "Mother." Then he knelt down and kowtowed 3 times, only to hear a boom, and the Lifing Pagoda fell. The white lady walked out from the bottom of the tower, hugging her son tightly, and the mother and son hugged their heads and cried bitterly. At this time, Zhu Ziyan also walked out of the grass house by the tower, and the family of 3 finally reunited. And Fahai has never come out since he got into the crab shell. Crabs used to walk straight, but since they got into a domineering Fahai, they have become sideways.